60 of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says...
Oh, shit, I should have that ready.
Yeah, you should.
I should. What professionals we are. Here we go. I am Paul Moadib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis. The hand of God be my witness. I am the voice from the outer world, and I will lead you to paradise.
Nice.
Yes. It was Dune Part 2 day.
Oh, really?
Yes, I went to go see it today.
How was it?
I will get into that. I want to discuss things surrounding Dune before I get into Dune itself.
Okay.
So, one of the things I've discovered, my little secret, is if you go see an early showing of a movie, it's usually less attendance.
Sure.
Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, I went to go see Dune, and it wasn't a full theater by any stretch of the imagination, but I would say it was half full.
Okay.
It was a good amount, but still enough that nobody's sitting next to me. I don't have to buy extra seats to give myself a level of comfort, like I do sometimes. Like I find if you go to an early morning showing, 10, 11 o'clock, there's less people there.
Right.
Which I'm all for. So, I get myself a ticket for the 11 o'clock show because I wanted to see this in IMAX.
Okay.
I had an option to go see it at 10 o'clock, but that was not in IMAX. But I went to the 11. And this is where things become hectic for me because I usually sleep till like 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm a night owl. I go to bed around 2 in the morning. I, get up later in the day. Like, that's just my routine. Mm-hmm. So for me to get up at like 9:15,
right,
is an ordeal. Okay. So I get up, get a shower, get dressed, feed the cats, everything I got to do, get ready, and I leave and I head out to the theater. And the problem becomes now, this movie is 2 hours and 47 minutes. It's a long movie.
Okay.
If you're going to go see it in the theater, brace yourself. So, I didn't have any breakfast, and I didn't drink any Red Bull.
Okay.
Because if I drink Red Bull, I'm going to be peeing constantly.
Right. Because
of the caffeine. It hits, somehow that shit hits your bladder and just squeezes it out.
Right.
So, I don't want to miss any of this movie, so I tell myself, well, I'm not drinking anything until the movie starts.
Right.
Like, nothing. So, and because of me, I didn't have time to stop and get breakfast or anything, and not that I didn't want to drink anything, so eating something was a bad idea. So, like, my breakfast this morning was popcorn.
Okay.
I had a small popcorn and a large cherry icy.
Okay.
And by the time the movie was over, my bladder, like, Sean 5-10 years ago, 2 hours and 47 minutes, I could have done that.
Yeah.
51-year-old Sean, even though the only thing I've had to drink is that cherry fucking icy.
Yeah.
And I didn't even drink all of it because out of concern of, like, I didn't want to piss myself.
Yeah.
When those credits started rolling, I was up and moving.
Yeah.
So, so that's fine. That's that. But now, like, okay, so the movie starts at 11:15, which it really didn't start until 11:45 because there was a half hour of trailers and ads.
Okay.
Okay. So by the time I got out of there, it was about quarter to 3, excuse me.
Okay.
So I am starving because popcorn is not all that filling.
Right.
So I make my way home. I stop at Target. I always go to the Target Monroeville. I picked up my Target stuff. Stopped at Sheetz and got myself basically dinner.
Yeah.
And then did my grocery shopping and went home. And now I'm like exhausted. I need a nap.
Right.
So my day is like completely fucked up, like how like I have it like normally in my head.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's worth it to go see a movie that early to me.
Yeah.
but like I have to like tell myself like, man, there's a sacrifice you're gonna be making,
Right.
you know, and the sacrifice to me was well worth it. And seeing Dune Part 2 in a theater in IMAX was amazing.
Okay.
Like, I'm pretty sure you liked the first one,
Yeah,
Dune
I did.
Part 1. Then I highly recommend Part 2.
All right. Okay.
The amazing thing about this movie, though, is it veered from the book a lot.
Okay.
Like, I was surprised at how much it veered. Because the first part kind of stayed really true to the book in a lot of aspects. The second part was like, we've got shit to say.
Yeah.
You know, and I was very surprised. Like, there were parts of the ending I was actually shocked by.
Okay.
That I was like, well, that's not even close to what fucking happened.
Right.
I mean, and in the context of this movie, it makes sense. But, like, having all that back knowledge, I'm like, I didn't like how that... I mean, I should say I didn't like. It was like, that veered a little too far. You know? I've convinced myself we no longer live in an age of a one-for-one retelling of a book.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, especially after, like, Ready Player One, I've learned to accept that. As long as you give me the base story. This kind of did give me the base story, but at the same time, it veered, especially at the end at this particular point, that I found interesting that they chose to go that route.
Right.
And I don't want to reveal it because I want you to enjoy the movie and then come back and ask me what my thoughts were.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, like, I want to discuss it because it's like, it's kind of like weighing on me, you know?
Yeah.
But I thought, overall, I thought the movie was phenomenal. I thought it looked beautiful.
Okay.
It gave us things that, like, the previous incarnations didn't give us. And I really liked... I really like the... I hate to say the message of the movie, because it's not really a message, but it was like the themes of the movie involving politics and religion and fanaticism and, like, exploitation. And, like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on here that you're just like... There's a lot of deeper thinking involved in this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, holy shit, was it good.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I highly, highly, highly... Like, if you like the first one, go see the second one.
Okay.
Like, if you didn't care for the first one, the second one's not going to sway you.
Okay.
Is it more action-packed? Yes, it absolutely is. There's a lot more action in the second one. There's a lot more fights. There's a lot more battles. You know, the story... for 2 hours and 4... Like, if it wasn't for my bladder coming to me and saying, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Like, that was a brisk 2 hours and 47 minutes.
Right.
Like, it really went by quickly. Like, I at no point does the movie drag.
I see.
At least to me, it didn't. But if you didn't care for for Dune Part 1,
Yeah.
then no, don't bother, because it is more of the same and going even deeper into, like, the prophecy and, you know, everything it kind of the first part sets up. It takes a deep dive into.
Right.
And if you didn't appreciate that in the first part, like, the second part's not going to sway you, in my opinion.
Right.
I will say this, based upon the ending, I hope they've already greenlit a third. They just haven't announced it.
Okay.
Because that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you ever hear of... I went to go get sushi with Doug today.
Okay.
And, yeah, off the plan and everything, but Gotta have a cheat day once in a while.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of? I can't say the name.
I have, yes.
Did you watch that documentary?
I did, yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I just got the brief beginning of it. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he's referring to, I think it was the dude's name was pronounced Jordowski.
Yeah, yeah.
He wanted to do Dune, but he wanted to do it as an animated version.
I didn't know it was animated.
Yeah, if you watch the documentary, it was going to be animated.
Oh, okay.
Because at the time, again, the thinking was this was an unfilmable book. The history that
Are you sure?
I'm positive. Because
he had like
drawings and stuff that they were going to do.
They have a book this big.
Yeah.
I mean, he already had it laid out.
Yeah.
And like they had like Pink Floyd doing the soundtrack and
Yeah.
shit. Like Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
I mean, he had like
oh yeah,
all these fucking people.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
It ranks. I mean, that movie, the movie that was never made, it ranks right up there with Tim Burton's Superman Lives.
Yeah. That's
like
crazy, man.
As far as like how batshit crazy could he have gotten?
Yeah.
Like same with Burton, because Burton, like I look at the stuff Burton had, like the suit and everything, like it was like so batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Like I'm like I was intrigued but at the same time nervous. you know.
Yeah.
Like there's a part of me that's like, man, I'm glad Burton didn't make that. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's like, man, I wish Burton had
But
made
he was
that.
talking about doing this before Star Wars was even out.
Right. I mean, he was talking about doing that in like 1973.
Yeah.
Like 73, 74, something like that. That's why it was going to be animated. Because they didn't feel they had the technology to do it.
Right.
You know. But,
Anyway.
Yeah, no. I mean, that was a great documentary. I enjoyed it from the standpoint of like, again, like it's that thing of like, man, what if that had been done?
Yeah, it just seems like he knew his material.
He did. Like he did the deep dive.
Yeah, and
like,
Geiger was part of it too. H.R. Geiger was doing laying out the.
Yeah.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, it's worth looking for the documentary to watch it.
Yeah.
But but I mean, it's funny because it's like that guy loved the source material.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Like David Lynch didn't.
Right.
You know, like I still don't. I would love to just ask David Lynch, like, out of all the shit you did, so much of it makes sense as far as like your material, and you made Dune.
Yeah.
Like, what were you thinking? Like, what made you decide to tackle Dune?
Right.
You know, I would love to know because it's just that oddball thing of like, this makes no fucking sense.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, so I watched that. I watched Dune Part 2. Mm. And I also watched Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Okay.
It's on HBO Max.
Okay. How was that?
Meh.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot about it I like.
Okay.
But then there's there's just a little bit of goofiness that makes me go,
Yeah.
You know, and it felt like they told James Hahn, they told him, like, look, this is the last movie. Just go for it.
Right.
Do it. Go as batshit crazy as you want. We don't care.
Right.
Like, honestly, I mean, because there is some batshit crazy in it.
Yeah.
But there's also some good, like, there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to sit there and say, wow, I wasted 2 hours. But at the same time, you're going to kind of like, that's the cap off to the DCEU. That's the last movie of that bank of movies, you know, catalog of movies. And it's just like, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It's on Max. like I said, it was there was some like there are things I like I loved Manta. I loved Manta's suit. It was like old school Manta.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't the power suit from the first movie. This was like he was just like like a black latex with some silver trim and looking badass.
Yeah.
You know, there were other things I liked the story of like of Orem.
Yeah.
And him and Arthur and like everything kind of went into that.
Yeah.
There were some. I would say the positive definitely outweigh the negatives, but when the negatives hit, you're like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just that bad. But overall, it wasn't a bad movie. I was just.
I get you.
Yeah. So, those are the two things I watched this week.
I watched Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
Which I quite enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I watched the first episode of The Dead.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Rick.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think I was going to like it, but it's pretty good.
You seem to have enjoyed all the spinoffs. So I'm not surprised by that.
I have, but something finally happened that I was waiting for. And
Yeah.
waiting for and waiting for and waiting for.
Yeah.
For the entire Dead.
Yeah.
And that is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
We finally get comic book Rick.
Yeah.
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 Yes, we do. And I was stoked when it happened. Because I was like, finally.
Yeah.
Finally, you're bringing it back. And it's kind of what these shows have been.
Yeah.
Kind of bringing it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I liked it. It was pretty good.
Good.
It was well worth watching it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it was good. So, yeah. So, watch that. And, that's about it. Highlight of the week was seeing Doug and eating sushi.
Nice.
Went to good Yo something.
Yeah.
Yo something. In Waterfront. We were going to go to Nakama. And then we thought about going to Station Square, but it's Saturday, Station Square. I didn't deal with all that. And Nakama would have been outrageous.
Yeah.
Just to get in.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, sushi was good and had some sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Good.
Just chill.
That's good.
And then I went to the comic store.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to go by because they have some Star Wars toys. And of course, Doug walks in and goes, they have all these Star Wars and vintage Star Wars. And Doug's like, yeah, that gun doesn't go with this guy. And that gun doesn't go with this guy at all.
Yeah.
And this guy should have a blue gun.
Yeah. Doug's like, educating them.
He was.
Yeah.
Like, he knows his shit.
Yeah.
Like, more than anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody I know.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, really? And Doug was like, yes. The guns are all wrong. You need to switch them.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get somebody in here that's not going to buy them because it's not the original guns.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, oh, thank you. I guess. And he switched the guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And he did buy an R5D4.
That's cool.
They had an R5.
Yeah.
That was in like really good condition.
Yeah.
The only problem with it is the clicker was broken.
Yeah.
Because on R5, if you turned the head, it clicked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Doug said he thinks he can fix it.
I think R2 did too.
Yeah, he said he could probably tear it apart and fix the clicker.
I wanted to ask you, since I know you haven't watched Aquaman yet, but now that it's over, the DCEU as a whole.
Yeah.
Like, I think obviously it's a failure since it's ending.
Right.
And it, like, for the most part, I think most people will tell you that the movies were either okay at best, awful at worst.
Right.
Like, what are your impressions of what they tried to do? And, like, do you have higher hopes for the future?
I don't have higher hopes. Because DC seems to just fuck it up.
Okay.
Even though James Gunn's running it,
yeah,
I still think it's going to be a fuck up.
Okay.
Because I just don't have much faith in the system.
Right.
They've proven over and over and over and over again. And they've just produced suck. I mean, they've had a couple movies out of that bunch that were really good. I think. Right. Out of all those movies, well, maybe more than a couple. There's probably 3 of them in there. But I don't think... I mean, they hit it on the money with Wonder Woman, the first one.
Right.
And then that went south.
Right.
I thought Man of Steel was actually pretty good.
Right.
And then that went south. I thought. I didn't think it... I don't know.
What do you mean, like with Batman v Superman?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Justice League was not good. The Flash was not good. Aquaman was okay, the first one.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. You're gonna be an optimist because you like DC. So I mean, like
I'm gonna be an optimist because I feel like I think you're right. Like I think like there is too much meddling. I'm hoping James Gunn is able to get free of that meddling and do what he wants to do.
Right.
Like the whole reason you hired James Gunn to oversee all of this is to avoid the meddling and let him tell and get the directors he's working with to tell the story they want to tell.
Right.
And tell it in a cohesive fashion a la Marvel.
Right.
But, like, I look at what they did with the DCEU. And I think you're right. I love Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel is a better movie than it gets credit for.
Right.
Like, I think, like, yes, Batman v Superman had problems. The top of that list being Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
But I did like a lot of what was in that movie, especially with Batman.
Right.
You know, the fight, the whole third act I love. The fight between Batman and Superman, and then I liked Doomsday.
Okay.
Like I thought that fight was really good and everything that's involved. Joss Whedon's Justice League, like I liked it until I saw, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Right.
And that's so much better.
Yeah.
Like so much better.
Right.
Like I love that. I love that Justice League movie.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, it is good.
I like the first Wonder Woman movie. I thought that was really, really well done. I thought it told an amazing story. I thought it was. It helped create a backstory for that character that you understood.
Yeah.
I thought it was just very, very well done. Wonder Woman 1984. It's
trash.
It is. There are parts of it I like.
Yeah. But
I mean, overall, it's a bad movie. The first Aquaman movie I like a lot.
Right.
The second one is just, I like Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I did like Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
I thought Blue Beetle was actually pretty good.
The Shazam movies were very good.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So there were like in this, like there are some. I don't want to call them gems, but I think they're better than the rap that they get.
I thought Blue Beetle was actually really good.
It was.
I mean,
yeah,
that was a good film.
Yeah,
all the way around.
I agree.
I mean, there was nothing bad about that film.
Right.
That was a Marvel-esque type of film.
Yeah.
If I'm going to compare.
Right.
Wonder Woman was a Marvel-esque type of film. If I'm going to compare.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
I feel that same way about Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I thought Man of Steel was really good.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I thought it was a good movie. Do you know what I mean?
Like I thought it took Superman and gave him a modern twist.
Yeah.
Like people were upset like, oh, he's emo, he got a sad face. No, I think in a modern like if you go back, if you watch Christopher Reeve's Superman, the first Superman the movie,
yeah,
like Pa Kent is telling him like you're gonna be a beacon of hope, and then Pa Kent has a heart attack and dies.
Right.
You know, and Clark couldn't save him.
Yeah.
You know, and that haunts Clark, and like to flip it around to like modern times, like when like Pa Kent's like, you know, you can't be doing these things. And then Clark's like, what was I supposed to do? Let everybody die in that bus? Like, yeah, maybe. Like, that makes sense because that's a man trying to protect his son from what he knows is coming.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he knows his son is, you know, he's going to be looked at as a science project.
Right.
And that's what he's trying to prevent from happening. But he's also instilled these values in him of being a good person that he can't help himself but save everybody. You know, and the town of Smallville kind of like rallies around that and is like, yeah, you're our secret.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, in all honesty, like that's what it feels like. Because when you have that fight later on, like everybody's like, yeah, we know it's you, Clark.
Right.
You know, you fucked up the town, but you saved us. Thanks. You know.
Right.
We did have a Sears. You know.
Yeah.
But I thought like. I had no problem with that. And like when you get the Batman v Superman, I like it. Batman's kind of like this older, disgruntled, like, and like that beginning scene of Batman v Superman when like he is driving in and you can see the carnage from the fight between, you know, Superman and Zod and everything that's going on with it. And like, that is such a badass scene.
Yeah.
Like, from beginning to end, like, when the second he gets in that fucking Jeep Compass, he goes, like, flying into Gotham, or go in the Metropolis. You're just like, only Bruce Wayne would do that. Like, you know.
Right.
And, like, for him to become, like, this disgruntled and view Superman as the enemy, like, makes complete and total sense to me.
Right.
Like, it works in my head.
Right.
Like, he would like, and he becomes like brutal about things.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I guess I did like that dark side of him.
Yeah. Like, I mean, unfortunately, like, the story has like parts of it that are completely incoherent.
Right. And
like you sit there and you say, well, the director's cut clears that up, but like it shouldn't have needed a director's cut.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, but still, like there are parts of it where you're just like, man, this is just completely incoherent, especially like anything that has to do with Luthor.
Right.
You know, but, you know, like everything else about that, I'm like, oh, that's so badass. You know? And then, like, the original version of Justice League that they released, like, I think I liked it because it was like that whole, it was the same thing like with Returning to, or with the Phantom Menace. I think I walked out trying to convince myself I liked it.
Right.
Again, there are parts of it I really do like.
Yeah.
There are parts that Wheaton put in that I really like. I like the scene where, like, Aquaman is sitting on the lasso of truth, and he starts, you know, you are fine as fuck. You know,
yeah.
You know, I know Atlanteans and Amazonians don't get along, but, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a good scene. Yeah. And there's a lot of crap in there too, where I'm just like, what the fuck? But then you get Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it's just like, fuck, that is really good. I like that a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the original Wonder Woman movie, like, that was like a home run. Like, that's the one that gave you hope.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, oh shit, here we go.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this could be it.
Yeah.
I mean, after that film, after that movie, I was like, they're on track.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. This is what I want to see.
And even with Aquaman, the first Aquaman movie, like I felt the same way. I'm like, okay, yeah, we're getting back on track.
Yeah, it was kind of back on track because there was a lot more than the story.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was a lot to that.
Right.
And I like that too.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I don't know. I love when Batman goes to see Aquaman. That's like one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Oh. That's badass, dude.
And when Arthur's like the one that dressed like a bat, you're nuts, Bruce Wayne. And then, like, later on, I was like, oh, shit, you really do this.
Right. That's funny.
I even like when Barry asked him, like, what is your superpower anyway? He's like, I'm rich.
Yeah, right. True.
Yeah.
Completely true.
Completely true. That's his superpower. He's rich.
Yeah, I even like that part, too.
Yeah.
The meeting of Flash and Batman. That was good, too. There's some really good elements, but they just fucking ruined it.
But you're right. Like the Flash wasn't that good of a movie. It's like it's saved by Keaton.
Yeah, that's the only thing that saved that movie.
Yeah,
it's true.
It really is. It's like it's Michael Keaton. I will say I thought the girl who played Supergirl. I liked her a lot.
Yeah.
Like I would have liked to have seen a continuation of that story as well.
Yeah.
But
I just think it was a bad script.
Yeah. I think it was reworked. You could tell, like, it was just like...
I mean, because I know that... Well, not anymore, but I mean, I know that kid can act.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know he can act well.
Right. But it's just... It was just one of those things that you could just tell, like, it was, like, you know... being reworked and reworked. I mean, that thing got put off forever and forever, and they filmed it, and then they reshot it, and they reshot it. And, like, it was just... It was a clusterfuck from beginning to end. And, like, the only thing that saves that movie is how good Keaton is.
Yeah, Keaton's so good. I agree.
You know, and then... I thought the Shazam movies were really good. I thought, like... But then you follow that up with, like, Black Adam, which is just bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was, like, bummed out by Black Adam.
Yeah, it could have been a lot better. There were elements in that I liked, though, too.
There are. I mean, there are elements that I like.
I thought he looked the part.
Absolutely. 100% looked the part.
Man, he was on money.
Yeah.
I mean, And he acted the part, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked him.
Yeah. No, I'm like... I mean, here's the thing with Black Adam, though, is it falls on his shoulders. It falls on Dwayne Johnson's shoulders because that was his pet project.
Right.
That's what he pushed for. He pushed this script. He pushed for everything.
Yeah.
You know, he was coming in. He thought he was going to be the savior of DCEU. He was planning to take it over.
Yeah.
I mean, he pushed for Cavill at the end.
Yeah.
Which gave us all hope that, like, oh, Cavill's back.
Yeah.
You know, but at the end of the day, like, everything else about that movie was so bad.
Yeah.
That it fails miserably.
Right.
And then...
But Shazam was really good.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of the Shazam movies were off the hook.
Right.
Off the hook good. They were great.
Had no right to be as good as they were.
Nah.
They really didn't.
Especially since it's outshining your main characters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, Shazam movies were just... they were excellent. I mean, really good.
And I'm going to throw in, because I forgot about them, Suicide Squad I liked a lot.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have a problem with that movie, but I liked it a lot.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it too.
And then The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, what was amazing with him, that was, you know, again, like, James Gunn kind of being let loose.
Yeah.
Like, do what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, okay. Who do I have to take? Well, you have to take Harley Quinn, you got to take Flag, and that's it.
I like the Peacemaker series, too.
I like the Peacemaker series a lot. Like, I'm hoping that kind of comes back for a season 2.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, like, what becomes funny is, like, it's like, you look at that overall, like, I'm gonna look at it as a realist. I'm gonna say that there were some ups and but there were more downs than there were ups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and like at the end of the day, let me pull this up. I want to show this to you because I'm sure you probably didn't see it because it's not something that's on your radar.
Okay.
So, come on, load up. So this week, James Gunn gave us our first sneak peek at the Superman costume.
Okay.
He's also announced that it's the movie's no longer called Superman Legacy. It's just called Superman.
Okay.
So there is the. And you don't see much, but
it's ice. Okay.
The thing I like is it's brighter.
Okay.
Like, I like the Cavill suit. Like, I don't have a problem with it.
Mm.
Like, I wish it had the trunks.
Mm.
You know, I understand why they took the trunks away. Makes sense. But if I have a problem with it, it is that they went down that road of like, well, this has to be darker.
Right.
Like this. So they went with like a darker blue. They went with a darker red. It didn't pop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the cape does. Like, I think they did a great job with the look of the cape and everything. But, like, the suit itself just doesn't pop.
Okay.
Well, this isn't like a... This looks like this is like a comic book blue to me. Like, that brighter blue, a brighter red, a brighter yellow.
Right.
Like to me, I mean, it looks like it's a modern version of the Reeves suit.
Okay.
Like, I really liked, as much as that movie sucks, I love the Superman suit in Superman Returns.
Okay.
Like, I thought they knocked that suit out of the park.
Okay.
And I feel like this is kind of like going back to the traditional, like, I'm hoping he's got the bright red trunks.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm hoping it's a more traditional looking suit, and I'm excited to see that. But that's your first peek, and again, like, so that gives me hope that, like, again, James Gunn is a guy who gets it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I'm hoping he can take us down that path that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope so. I just kind of wanted the movies to be in the line of like how Wonder Woman 1 was.
I feel like Zack Snyder had this vision. Okay? Like, and don't get me wrong, like, after watching his Justice League, like, yeah, I wish that could have continued somehow. I understand why it can't. But, and I understand why Warner Brothers like, man, we made a mistake letting him do that. Like, we should have just shit-canned that shit a long time ago. But at the same time, like, seeing what his vision would have been, like, for bringing in Darkseid.
Yeah.
Like, that was like, I get it. Like, I'm, but that's again, like, that moment where Darkseid is staring down the Justice League through the boom tube and the boom tube closes. That's the equivalent of, at the end of Avengers, Thanos turning around. And everybody like, oh shit, it's him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was what that moment was for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh shit, here we go. Now it's on.
Yeah.
You know? And then Marvel made you wait 15 more movies till you actually got to Thanos. You know? But
it was worth it.
It was worth it, 100%. But it is one of those. To me, it's just like the vision just doesn't like. It doesn't work for a mainstream audience.
Right. No, I mean, I get that, and I think that, but they captured him pretty well.
Right.
He looked good.
Right. But but the vision he had, like, overall for, like, this is what I want. This is what I want this to be.
You're right.
Does not work for a mainstream audience.
Right. I understand.
Like, that's the problem. And so, like, if you're like a casual fan, like, it was so batshit crazy that you just, like, as a casual fan, like, I would never recommend that movie to somebody who hasn't read comic books.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you're gonna, at the end of, like, first off, it's 4 hours.
Right.
Like, So you have to be dedicated to watch it.
Yeah.
But it's also it's just that situation of like, unless you have the history, like it's kind of like Dune in a way. Like it's like 1984's Dune. Unless you have the books in your head,
yeah,
and you can fill in the blanks, that movie makes no fucking sense.
Right.
You know, same here in a lot of ways. So, like at the end of the day, it's a failed experiment.
Right.
You know, the whole thing's a failed. There's a lot of ups and but there's more downs, and it's a failed experiment. And now it's up to James Gunn to right that ship and make it more accessible to a mainstream audience.
Right. Well, let's hope he can do it. I mean, like,
well, I mean, if you can
Fox. I mean, when Fox released the movie with Apocalypse in it,
right,
they ruined Apocalypse.
Right.
Apocalypse is sort of Darkseid's equal, in a sense.
Yeah.
If you're going to mirror villains.
Yeah.
And they ruined Apocalypse. That's not the Apocalypse that I mean, that's not the Apocalypse that I read.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
A huge villain.
Right.
And it's kind of like, that one I almost walked out on. That was close. And I did finally watch the Jean Grey one.
No.
I did. Wow, was that terrible?
It was fucking awful. Like, that ranks up there with, like, Elektra and Catwoman and the movie that shall not be named.
Yes.
Like, it is that fucking bad.
That could have been career ending.
Yeah.
It was that bad.
Like, if a lot of those actors were not already established.
Yeah, man.
Like, you know, Fassbender is still Fassbender, you know? But, like, if he wasn't Fassbender, that would, like, you know, we would never see that motherfucker again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it is a bad movie.
Terrible.
Horrible.
So bad.
It was. Like,
I just don't know how you can go from one movie to being... I don't know how you can go from one X movie to be like, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next X-Men movie and it's just like, it's atrocious.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I really can't find any redeeming qualities in Apocalypse. And I can't find...
Well, no. There are redeeming qualities in Apocalypse.
Maybe I have to watch it again.
There's, you know, the stork will kill us, but there's the forest scene with Magneto.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Like, Magneto's like...
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things in that movie that do stand out.
And the introduction of Cyclops.
Yeah. Like, there are some good things in that movie. The mansion exploding.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, I guess looking back at it, I have to watch it.
I mean, the problem is, at the end of the day, like, the villain doesn't live up to the hype that we have in our head.
Right.
And Jean Grey goes full Phoenix.
Right.
And that pissed you right the fuck off.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I remember, like, you were pissed she went full Phoenix.
Yeah.
You know. But, I mean, I think overall that's not that bad of a movie. Like, your criticisms are sound.
Yeah.
But when I watch it, I'm like, okay, it's not that bad, but it's not that good either.
Right.
Like, it's, you know, it's just okay. But, I mean, coming off of, like, you know, First Class and then Days of Future Past, Apocalypse had a lot to live up to, and it fails miserably. And then you go to Dark Phoenix, and you're just like, oh, my God. What have we done?
Right.
How do we fuck this up again?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I hope Marvel can right the ship with the X-Men. We'll see.
Which is harder to correct? X-Men or Fantastic Four.
X-Men.
You think that's harder to correct?
Yeah, because it's a more popular property. Four's bigger with older folks.
Yeah.
It's the property.
Right.
I mean, it is. Four has been probably much more popular with older folks than it was younger people. But younger people know X-Men. Not just from cartoons and stuff. They know X-Men throughout the years. They know Wolverine. It's still relevant in today.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
I think the hardest part that they have to rectify is casting. Like, how do you go back to Wolverine? Like, how do you replace Hugh Jackman?
Yeah, I know.
Like, that is like, for as bad as some of those movies are, they've been around for so long.
Right.
That some of this is very etched in your mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Magneto, both versions, fantastic. Professor X, both versions, fantastic. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine over 20 plus years.
Right.
Fantastic. So like those are the conundrums that they kind of have in that view, in my viewpoint from there. Like, how do you kind of erase the memory of those characters?
Right.
And especially when you're bringing back Hugh Jackman one more time for the Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even allowing, like, him to, like, okay, like, we gave you Logan, and that was this amazing fucking movie, but we're bringing him back one more time because Ryan Reynolds wants to.
Yeah.
And we can't say no to Ryan Reynolds.
I don't think Jackman would say no to Ryan Reynolds.
I guess just that odd thing with him of, like, they had to have backed up a Brinks truck for, like, we need you to do this one more time. We need you to get in the Wolverine shape one more time.
I don't know. I mean, I hear you. I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Because he was done.
I know he was
done. I mean, like, Logan was, like, the perfect
ending.
Finale.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I know he was done, but I don't know. I think Ryan Reynolds probably turned on a little bit of charm and said, hey, can you bring him back one more time?
Yeah.
We'll pay you. Just, I need you in my movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this might be Ryan Reynolds' last Deadpool. Maybe.
I'm willing to bet no.
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm willing to bet no for two reasons. One, his love of the character for kind of like skyrocketing his career.
Yeah.
I think he just flat out loves the character. But I also, like, I think he knows he owes a debt of gratitude to the character.
Yeah.
But I think Marvel is going to be like, okay, you made $1 billion. We need you to stick the fuck around.
I know. I mean, he might be hey, you never know. He might be the connecting glue in this whole new cinematic universe.
Right.
That they're creating.
Right. I mean,
the introduction of
if this works, if this makes big money, which I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I can't see how it doesn't. You've got to give me Deadpool and Spider-Man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what, like, that's, you just can't kind of leave him out there and let him do his thing. Like, we've got to tuck him into the MCU now, and we've got to figure out a way to use him. And,
right.
Him and Tom Holland would just work.
But, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Which Spider-Man?
It's Tom Holland.
I don't know.
I mean, I would love...
It looks more like a Garfield Spider-Man to me. Just because I think Holland's so fucking innocent.
But I think that's what would work so well with it. Is like his innocence playing off of...
But it's not like it's Colossus. That was a huge thing for me, too.
Yeah.
Seeing Colossus like that full on.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's Colossus.
Yeah.
Even when Reynolds brought in the fucking Juggernaut.
Yeah.
That's the Juggernaut.
That's the Juggernaut, not what we saw in X3.
No.
No.
That is the Juggernaut.
Yeah. I 100% agree.
That is the Juggernaut from the fucking comics.
Yeah.
It was. I was like, that was a really good adaptation of the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Like, out of any character I've seen, aside from maybe, well, not any character, but of the few characters that come out that has, like, really been money.
Yeah.
Like, real money. Juggernaut was one. Doc Ock was one.
Yeah.
But that's Sony. But I mean, well, when they made Doc Ock, they made him perfect.
Yeah.
Almost perfect.
But like I don't give Sony credit for that. I give Sam Raimi credit for that.
Okay, I get that.
You know what I mean? Like, because the amazing thing, like, about those characters, like, Sam Raimi got the golden age stuff because that's what he grew up on.
Yeah.
Like, he's freely admitted, like, they forced Venom down my throat and I didn't know Venom. And I didn't know how to use Venom. Like, so I was winging it.
Right.
Like, but Sandman, which he did very well, you know, I mean, he did Doc Ock very well. Even I guess Goblin wasn't that bad. Like, the suit was, but, you know, Norman Osborn as Doc Ock, like, I mean, that was very well done.
Norman Osborn as Doc Ock.
Not Doc Ock, as Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Green Goblin. Like, that in Spider-Man 1, like, outside of the suit being just horrible, like, everything else was dead on.
Yeah. Well, he's amazing.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, that was Sam Raimi understanding those characters he grew up with.
Mm.
The second you gave him Venom, and he's like, I don't know who this is. Like, what the fuck you want me to do with this?
Yeah, and especially when Osborn came back.
Yeah.
In the last Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. I mean that's.
But it just brought the character back.
Yeah.
It brought back.
But it was also like
Raimi's character.
Marvel redeemed it because they got rid of that stupid fucking helmet. They got him with the hood up. Like, you know, no, he didn't have like the green complexion or the nose, but everything else was like spot on as far as that is the look of.
Yeah, plus his facial expressions.
Yeah.
He should have won an Oscar for Green Goblin.
Yeah, you can't hide Willem Dafoe behind makeup.
No.
Don't do it.
Yeah, why?
Yeah. You didn't need to.
I know. He so commanded the screen.
Yeah.
I was so happy.
I agree.
Especially when he was outed.
Yeah.
It's like the best part. His
yeah.
whole speech.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's good. That's Goblin.
Yeah.
And that superhuman strength.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
It was really good. So good.
Yeah.
They did do a masterful job with that movie. I have to say.
Oh yeah.
I had no qualms with that Marvel movie. Or yeah.
Yeah.
None. None.
I it is like for a long time Spider-Man 2 was like to me the best Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
I mean, and Spider-Man 2 is one of the best comic book movies ever made.
I agree.
And you know, No Way Home kind of leapfrogged into that spot.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
It is. It's that good.
Yeah. I mean, the one with Mysterio was pretty good. Just seeing Mysterio was good.
Yeah. And the fact that they had the balls to do Mysterio was impressive.
And the way they did him was good, too.
Yeah.
It made sense.
It made sense. It worked. I had no problem with it. And, I mean, again, just the fact they had to put the goldfish bowl on somebody's head was amazing to me. You know?
I know.
But I mean, and even the first one with Keaton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Keaton's Vulture was amazing.
The death of Aunt May.
Yeah.
Was just about as bad as... No, well, not as bad, but it was up there.
Yeah.
With Stacy.
Yeah.
But that was brutal. That was a brutal death scene.
Right.
Just brutal.
But you get the redemption of Garfield's Spider-Man by saving MJ.
I know.
Like, which is like, that was like a tear-jerking moment.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, I was sallying up. I'll freely admit it.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I know, like, as much as I shit on the Amazing Spider-Man movies, I would admit that they're good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I have problems with them, but they're good movies. And I mean, like, the death of Gwen Stacy, that was so well done.
Yeah.
You know, we've discussed it, and I'm not going to go back down that rabbit hole, but like to have the redemption where he saves MJ, and it fucks him up.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, for a second. And he's like, okay, I get back in the fight. You know?
Yeah.
But, like, it's just a moment. And MJ's like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm okay. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's so well done.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. It was a well done movie.
Yeah.
And I always liked Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman, too.
Yeah.
I liked his Sandman.
I did, too. Like
he just had to get back to his kid.
His highlight, he was a highlight of Spider-Man 3.
Right.
I mean, that movie's a mess, but Thomas Hayden Church's Sandman is a highlight of that movie. But why? Because Sam Raimi understood that character.
Right.
He'd read those comic books when he was a kid.
Right.
You know, so he got the character. Whereas, you know, everything else is a clusterfuck because that wasn't him.
Right.
You know, I didn't grow up reading this.
Right.
So.
And it was good, man. So, I don't know. I'm waiting because I don't know what they're gonna do, but I want, you know, I want Daredevil and I want Kingpin and I want these characters in. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, I agree. Especially Daredevil, especially Charlie Cox's Daredevil. You know, the Kingpin from the, you know, what they've been doing. I want that King. I mean, you know, and if you watched Echo,
yeah,
they're setting Kingpin up for big things.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, he's just so fucking good.
He is.
You can't let an actor go like that.
Right.
I mean, you just can't let him go to waste.
And he enjoys playing the character.
Yeah, I know.
Which is like the bonus. Like both of those guys, Charlie Cox and I can't remember his name. Is Save My Life and it hurts me. But the guy who plays Kingpin, they both love playing those characters. You know, like
right.
I don't think Charlie Cox would have, or I don't think either of them would have come back if they didn't. You know what I mean? Like, because it's such a commitment, and especially when you get into the MCU, like, you know, who knows what they're going to use you in?
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, it's just those are two characters that you're just like, man, you like. I know they're doing Daredevil Born Again, and I can't wait to see that as a show. But like, you're right. Like Charlie Cox's Daredevil needs to be on the big screen in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, because he's
just that good.
Yeah, he's great as Daredevil.
Yeah.
I know. I can't. I just want to see Spider-Man and Daredevil in suit together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that would be
like on top of a gargoyle or something.
Yeah.
You know, something.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're holding hands. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Just to see him on screen. Because the Daredevil suit is so wicked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a wicked
yeah.
outfit. Yeah, fuck. That's one character he's been drawn very well over the years.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I just want to see him. See him, you know, with Spidey.
Yeah.
And Deadpool, too.
Yeah.
But I like to see Deadpool next to Spidey.
Oh, yeah. Just like whispering in his ear.
I can see the first time he shoots webs at him and Deadpool says something sucking smart ass.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck? You know?
Yeah.
And how they're going to cut that. Are they just going to go, what the? Or are they going to...
I think it has to be.
You have to cut it, though. I mean, like, there's no way you're going to make Tom Holland an R-rated character.
Right. I hope, like, what I would hope would be, like, you don't tone down the character, but you just end up, like, bleeping him out. Like, and he's, like, understands it because he's like, well, that language is too salty for the MCU. And, like, everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you know, don't worry about it. You know, but every time he says, like, something filthy, it just get, you know, beep, you know, and that would be hysterical to me. But it would be true to the character then.
Right. No, I know that. But, I mean, like, Wolverine's more believable because he's got a foul mouth anyway. Everybody knows this.
Right.
You know, Wolverine's not.
Right.
I mean, they made him PG when he had to be PG, but
I mean, he did tell Charles and Magneto to go fuck themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
So he's that type of guy.
Yeah.
But that's been the whole arc with Wolvie. You know what I mean? Like it's the whole arc of being pretty much an animal.
Yeah.
Throughout his years to becoming who he was.
Right.
You know what I mean? More like the person you saw in Days of Future Past.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's taken a long road for him to get there. I mean, what? How many years? 100?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's taken a long time.
Yeah.
I would like to see that movie where him and Sabretooth, where they not became friends anymore.
Yeah.
That would be a badass movie.
I agree.
Like leading up to that point.
Right.
The wars and stuff like that. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But we'll never get that.
No.
Anyway. Off of Spidey.
I'm trying to think what else we got. The Combines this weekend, so. Yeah.
Who do you think they're going to go after?
It all depends. Like, there's this weird thing of like, first off, there's like 10 different quarterbacks that they're supposedly looking at, including Justin Fields in Chicago, and they're waiting for Russell Wilson to become a free agent.
Why?
I have no idea. Like, the way, and this amazes me, and maybe I'm missing something. I need somebody to tell me what I'm missing. But, like, why people are so enamored with Justin Fields is beyond me.
Okay.
Like, he is Lamar Jackson light. And his arm is less accurate than Jackson's, but it's like that whole, like, well, he's dynamic because he can make plays with his feet, and, like, that's not what you pay a quarterback to do.
Right.
You pay a quarterback to throw the ball down the field.
And Lamar learned that.
Right. But
to a certain extent.
To a certain extent. But, I mean, still, like, I wouldn't...
He does sit in the pocket way more than he used to.
Right. But at the same time, I don't trust Lamar Jackson to win a playoff game.
Right.
Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
And if you're giving me a lighter version of him with a less accurate arm, like, why?
Right.
You know, like, I'm not saying it as like, well, Kenny needs to be the starter, and no, I understand, like, you need to find the guy.
Right.
But I don't think Justin Fields is the guy, and I wouldn't waste trade capital or draft capital to go get him, because the problem becomes if you trade for him, he's the guy.
Right.
And then you've got to determine whether or not you're going to pick up that 50-year option on him, which is like $22 million.
Right.
So, like, this isn't like a 1 year, like, let's see. You're investing in this guy. And if you trade for him, it's automatic. He's the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with Russell Wilson. Like, one, I think he's washed.
Okay.
But two, he comes with so much fucking baggage and ego.
Right.
That, like, I don't want him in the building.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. But yet, there are people out there who are like, we need Russ. We need to bring Russell in. We need to pay a quarterback. Like, not this guy.
Right.
Like, I hope he does well. I hope he goes somewhere and he plays well. But, like, I mean, what he showed at the end of his time in Seattle and 2 years in Denver, tell me you don't have what it takes.
Where do you think Mason's going to go?
That's the weird thing. Like, I don't know. Because it's like, anybody who really needs a quarterback, they're probably going to... Like, this draft class is so heavy that, like, the team... Like, there's no team that you sit there and you look at and say, well, that team needs a quarterback. Their best option is to go get Mason Rudolph.
Right.
Because there's so, like, you could sit there and say, well, there are probably 3 other quarterbacks that they could draft that are better than Mason Rudolph. Right. Or could be better than Mason Rudolph.
Right.
But also, those teams also need a lot more than just Mason Rudolph. And there's no team that you would look at and you would say, well, they could use a quarterback. And they've got the other pieces in place that he could thrive. Like, the only place he fits is in Pittsburgh. Right. You know? It's like, to me, like, I do think they're going to give him the Mitch Trubisky deal. I'll pay him like $10 million for 2 years.
Yeah.
And see how he does. Like, and now, like, the only problem with that is Kenny's always looking over his shoulder. If you make Kenny the starter, the second he throws a bad pass, everybody's calling for Mason Rudolph.
Right. Well, that's normal in Pittsburgh.
But
not
well, it's normal anywhere, but it'll be even more so because of how well Mason played those last 3.5 games last year.
Right. Yeah, I get you.
So, like, do you go and you draft a quarterback? Do you get like a J.J. McCarthy who's probably going to be available at that time, or a Bo Nix, or like there are guys that are going to be available in the draft at 20 that have a first round grade.
Yeah, right.
And you could, and unlike the Steelers were criticized because it was like Kenny Pickett was a bit of a stretch at 20 2 years ago,
right?
3 years ago. I get that, but they didn't have a plan in place to replace Ben. That's the big problem,
right?
You know, so I mean,
I think they did have a plan to replace Ben, and that was Mason Rudolph. I think that's why they brought Rudolph in.
Well, I mean, I think initially it was when they drafted him 6 years ago.
Right.
But the problem became he shit the bed so much.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like, I don't understand why Mason Rudolph didn't get an opportunity. Why they went to Mitch Trubisky and why they hung on Trubisky as long as they did before going to Rudolph. Well, it's because he had a history of shitting the bed.
Right.
He wasn't that good of a quarterback. Like, I'm like the only one who remembers this. Like,
no, I remember.
Right. But like, people ask, like, oh, Tomlin just doesn't like him for some reason and mistreats him. Well, he was a bad quarterback.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
I think it's great that over the past couple of years, he's evolved.
Right.
You know, and it looks like he's learned some lessons and he's gotten better. That's great. But at the same time, if you look at his previous history, he was so fucking bad that I don't blame him for, like, I never wanted to see Mason Rudolph throw a pass in anger ever again. Right. I would have much rather seen it go back to Landry Jones.
Yeah, Landry Jones.
Go back and get Landry Jones from the XFL. You know, let's bring him back.
Yeah.
You know, he was a better backup.
Yeah.
But the problem becomes, like, he played so well. Like, I mean, you'd almost have to go with him as a starter.
Yeah, he did play well. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
I don't have any faith in him. But
right, neither do I. And that's the problem.
Because I remember the bad Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
And maybe he's matured. Maybe he's grown up. He hasn't had the experience.
No.
But also, too, you bring him in to be the next guy. And Ben plays for 6 more years.
I mean, and don't get me wrong. Ben did him no favors.
No, he didn't. It's sort of like that. It's very... It almost reminds me of... Well, of course, the other guy thrived, but... Montana Young.
Yeah.
Steve Young was a good quarterback.
Or Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, great quarterback.
Yeah. But, I mean, like...
I think that was their plan.
Right. It was. I mean, with Montana and Young in particular, I mean, that's... Bill Walsh traded for Steve Young for that reason. He thought Montana was getting older. He thought Montana's body was breaking down. He thought, I need a replacement in place, and that's the guy I believe in.
Yeah.
And Montana refused to give up the ghost.
Yeah, I know.
You know, same thing in Green Bay with Favre. Like, they drafted Aaron Rodgers, and it was like, well, this is my final year. No, it's not my final year.
Yeah.
I'm going to retire. No, I'm not going to retire. Like, Favre was like he and they were thinking, like, he's been around for a long time. He had, he hasn't missed games. He's got to be banged up. We've got to be reaching the end here. And I mean, Favre got traded and played for 4 more years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, Aaron Rodgers was a great quarterback who was just waiting to play.
Yeah.
Steve Young was a great quarterback just waiting to play. You don't always get that. And it was the same thing here, but the difference was
Mason's not a great quarterback.
No, he's not.
That's the difference.
Right.
Mason isn't Young. Mason isn't Rodgers.
Right.
He's just not that quarterback.
Mason's Bubby.
Yeah. Yes.
Unfortunately,
that's how it is.
It is. And, like, people don't understand. Because, like, I think you see, like, or you've seen over the years, like, teams, like, go, like, okay, well, the Packers went from Favre to Rodgers, and now Jordan Love is looking pretty good. So it must be pretty easy to find a quarterback. No, it's not. The Steelers went like 25 years from Bradshaw to Roethlisberger.
Let's name him Malone.
Yeah. Cliff Stout, Mark Malone, Todd Blackledge, David Woodley, Booby, Mike Tomczak, Cordell, Kent Graham,
Neil O'Donnell. Like there's a long list of quarterbacks between Bradshaw and Roethlisberger that stunk.
Yeah.
Agreed. I agree with you.
So, like, and you look at other franchises, like the Jets have been looking for, like, that next great quarterback since Joe Namath.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, name me one, like, really good Jets quarterback in the last 40 years.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
Like, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, it is, like, I mean, even like the Dolphins. You look at the Dolphins, like, I mean, I don't know if Tua is that guy, but, there's been a lot of quarterbacks in and out of Miami since Dan Marino retired.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Broncos, after Elway, had to ride the ghost of Peyton Manning.
Right.
So, I mean, like, this isn't like everyone's like, oh, it's just simple. Just get a quarterback. Well, it's not that simple.
Yeah, it's almost like a crapshoot.
It is.
You're going for these quarterbacks because you don't know. I mean, you don't know who's going to produce when they get out.
Right.
I mean, everybody thought Pryor was a godsend of football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and he was good.
Yeah.
And I'm saying he's not bad now. Griffin, another one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
There's just an example. Or what's his name? Ryan Leaf.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, Ryan Leaf is the ultimate.
Yeah, I know, but there's just these guys that, have all these, you believe in them, right?
Yeah.
And I hope Pickett's not the same thing.
Well, like, I'm at the point now where, like, this season is the make or break season for him.
Yeah.
Like, you have to produce this year. You have to show you've gotten better.
Right.
Like, you regressed last year.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you've got to stand in the pocket. You've got to be fearless. You've got to, I said earlier, like, what's the big thing between Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph? Kenny Pickett gets out of the pocket too early. Mason Rudolph sits in the pocket too long.
Right.
That's the difference between the two.
I think Mason has more arm strength than Pickett, though.
Oh, he does. He has a hose. Like, there's not a dumb, like, he does have a bigger arm.
He's strong.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, he's also a statue.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not that mobile. Like,
I think he has better vision than Pickett as well.
Yes. But, like, I mean, and there were plays, like, I mean, people love to point out, like, oh, look at this throw from Kenny. Like, he throws behind Deontay Johnson in the end zone, which would have been a touchdown if he had thrown it on the money. Like, and there are other throws you could point at and say, like, yeah, that's a bad throw. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind. It's a bad throw. I can't defend it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to defend it. It's a bad throw. But, like, and Mason didn't have many of those.
Right.
You know what I mean? During the 4 games he played, like, one really, really bad throw, which was the only interception he threw, and that was against Buffalo in the playoffs.
Right.
Tough. But at the same time, I look back at his history, and I'm going to say, well, look at this bad. Like, he threw some bad throws.
Oh, yeah.
He sat in the pocket way too long and took too many sacks.
Right.
Like, there was the one play, I think, I can't remember who it was against. But, like, it was like that one play where, like, it was like the pocket was, I thought he was sacked. And all of a sudden, the ball just comes out of this mass of people because he just stood there and he threw it the last second, and it was like a big gainer to Pickens.
Yeah.
And it was like, how did he do that?
Right.
Well, it's because he just stood there, with all the madness around him and just knew he was going to take the hit. But sometimes he does that too long.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't do it. Like,
if he could find that happy balance,
right,
he'd be killer.
And he did that in 4 games.
Right.
Like, what I mean? Like, there was that happy balance where, like, I'm going to hold on to the ball just a second longer, and now I'm going to throw it and take the hit.
Right.
Pickett doesn't do that. He tries to escape the pocket and make something happen with his athleticism. Unfortunately, 95% of the time that leads to a sack or an incompletion.
Yeah, or a huge loss.
Yeah. So, like, it's like, I honestly think they're going to re-sign Mason Rudolph. And I think there's a very good chance he starts next year.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll see.
Like, I hope not. Again, like, I'm a Kenny Pickett fan.
Right.
I want Kenny to succeed. But at the same time, like, I'm freely admitting, like, he's got to take a massive step next year. And, like, I don't think Justin Fields is the answer. I don't think Russell Wilson's the answer. I mean, if you were to tell me, like, hey, we're going to draft another quarterback in the first round, we're going to get, like, a J.J. McCarthy or, Michael Penix Jr. or something like, I'm like, okay, I can see that. That makes sense. You're taking the best available player.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's also, like, rumor that they're going to trade for Ladarius Sneed, a corner from the Chiefs, who's really fucking good.
Yeah.
And still in his prime, unlike Patrick Peterson.
Right.
So now you could put Sneed on the outside, Joey Porter Jr. on the other side. If you keep Patrick Peterson, you can move him to the third corner.
Yeah.
Which I think he'd be better at.
Yeah.
And now you've got
shut down. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden your secondary's legit.
Yeah.
So, like, I also think if Peterson was to move to safety, I think, if you put him opposite Micah, I think that would be a very good 1-2 team. I think he played very well at safety when they asked him to move to safety.
Yeah. Because
of injuries and stuff. And I think he would excel if you moved him to safety.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think our chances of getting this guy is?
I think they're not bad. I mean, it depends on what the market becomes for him.
Uh-huh.
Like, is there somebody who's willing to overpay for the guy? Like, if that becomes the case, if the Steelers are saying, like, we'll give you a second-round draft pick this year and a third-rounder next year, and somebody comes up and says, well, we'll give you a first this year and a second next year. Well, the Steelers aren't going to give up that much draft capital.
No, they're not.
But, I think if they can make a deal with Kansas City, they'll make a deal with Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would be phenomenal. But it becomes that odd thing of, like, man, that's more money you've put into the defense in a league where offense really wins.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm still of that mindset of, like, no, defense still wins. Like, look at the Super Bowl. Defense wins championships still.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah, you can have a high-scoring offense. You can have a high-octane offense. You can have an offense that moves the ball up and down the field. But at the end of the day, like, you've got to stop somebody. Mm. And you got T.J. Watt. You've got Captain Cam. You've got, Highsmith. You've got Micah. You've got Joey Porter Jr. You've got all these interesting pieces for a defense that, man, if it could get humming.
Yeah, I know. If they can get humming like half to 3/4 away through the season, like really humming.
Yeah.
I think they have a legitimate shot.
Yeah, I do too.
And what's his name? The rookie.
Helwig or Hedwig?
No, that's not Herwig. What is his name?
I can't remember. I know who you're talking about. The guy from Wisconsin. Yeah. His brother plays offensive line.
Fuck yeah. That guy. He's a little beast.
Find a way to get him on the field more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The middle linebackers are,
they'll be healed by next.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing. Like, I mean, you had Miles Jack coming off the couch.
Yeah.
And playing middle linebacker.
He played well, though.
And he played well, yes. Like, I mean,
they might even keep Miles Jack
until he didn't. Like at the end, like in that Buffalo game, like those guys got exposed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's but like, it's almost like you sit there and you say like, well, the two guys that are playing middle linebacker for us, like we, literally pulled them off the couch.
Right, but
a month ago.
Yeah, I know, but the guys should be healed.
Right.
By then.
Right.
They should be.
And they were playing well before they got injured.
Oh yeah, very well.
Yeah. So.
Very well.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be an interesting off season going forward. I think the draft is like between now and the draft is gonna be interesting to see like what they do.
Right.
Because if they make those trades, if they trade for Justin Fields or if they trade for Snead, if they sign Russell Wilson, now you can look at the draft and go, okay, now what are they going to do?
We're going to have to get a new punter, too.
Yeah. They released Percy Harvin.
Did they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a shame. Like, no, I shouldn't say that. Like, I get why they released him. Right. Like, he didn't have that medium range club in his bag. Like, if you had him at like the 35 or the 40 yard line, like your own 35 or 40 yard line, he didn't have that club in his bag, and it either like shanked for 20 yards or went out the back of the end zone. Like he never had, you know what I mean, like that range
right
in his bag at all. But if you were back at your own 15 yard line, he was bombing the shit out of that ball. You know what I mean? Like, that's where he excelled at. Like, he has a cannon for a leg. It's just he doesn't have the art of punting down for anything else. So you need... I mean, there's that guy from Iowa. Like, he's like this phenomenal punter. But Iowa was so bad at offense last year that, like, he was like the best player on the team.
Really?
Yeah. Like, people paid to see Iowa games and watch this punter. Because you knew you were going to see him punt like 8 times a game.
Was he good?
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
So he's scienced it out.
Yeah. Like, he's the guy who has scienced it out. And, like, the only reason Iowa won the Big Ten West. That, like, they had 8 wins. And the only reason they had 8 wins was because they played field position. And he flipped the field constantly.
Really?
Right. So, like, he was constantly putting the Iowa defense in a good position. And they were winning games, like, no joke, like 7-3.
Wow.
9-7. Like, it was like their offense was so inept.
Okay.
You know, and it was just they were in a position where like the offense was so fucking bad, the defense was really good, and then you had this punter who was constantly putting your defense in a good position, so you couldn't help but get the ball back and just move 10 yards, get in field goal range.
That's crazy. Do you think he's going to get drafted?
Oh yeah, I mean, as a punter, I'd be looking for him to be a day 3 guy, but I would say probably like a 4th or 5th rounder.
Okay.
You know, and if the Steelers want him, and I think they do,
yeah,
because they value field position like that.
Yeah, they do.
That I could see them going and making a play for him.
Getting this guy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Acquisition.
Yeah, but like, I wish I could remember the dude's name, but their offense was like.
We've had some pretty good luck with like on the other side of the kicking.
Oh yeah,
field goal guys.
Boswell's been. He's one of the best in the game.
Yeah, I know.
Like it's like Justin Tucker. Like there may be 1 or 2 other guys. Like I think the guy in Cincinnati's probably better, but like McManus, I think is his name, and they're like maybe one other guy, but like Boswell's like right up there, top 5 in the league right now.
Right.
Like doesn't miss.
Right.
You know he's money. He's got a leg, so like if you put him like outside of like 40, 50 yards, he's still hitting it. Like he's not hitting a 63-yarder like Tucker does.
Right.
But still.
But you know when he fucks up, the Steeler fans aren't going like, "Oh, get him out of here. We need a new."
He had that one year.
Yeah, I remember that.
He had that one year where people were like, "He's got to fucking go," and Tomlin's like, "He's having a bad year. That's all it is. Like we'll ride it out with him because he's our guy, but we know he's going to be back on the saddle." And it paid off because he had that one bad year and he's been fine ever since.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like under normal circumstances, aside from that year,
yeah,
you don't hear Steeler fans in the stands going, "Get rid of that bum." No, you just don't, because I mean, like he's that automatic.
Because inside 40 he is. Like if you look at his misses over the past 3 years, they're all outside of 40 yards.
Right.
I think it maybe all be outside of 50 yards.
Right.
You know,
he's good, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have that short up too.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not making any predictions this year.
No, I mean,
I had so high hopes going into last year that I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna be like.
No, I feel like, and I said it last year, and I was right. If the quarterback position plays well, like everything else is in place.
Right.
If you really think about it, like you got Freiermuth, you've got Deontay Johnson, you've got Pickens, you know, you've got 2 studs at running back.
You name it at fucking offense. They're all there except for the quarterback piece.
Exactly. So like if that piece comes into place, it is like you are set to go.
And they're all young.
Yeah.
Most of them are young.
So I understand why people feel like if you go and get a guy like Russell Wilson, like that's the piece.
Right.
But like I feel like he's shown over the past 4 years that he's not that guy anymore.
Right.
And I don't know if he's got it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I know.
Plus, I don't want the baggage that he comes with.
Right. I get that.
Yeah. But I get why you would think that. Like, you're thinking a veteran, a Super Bowl winner, you know, he's been there, he's done that. We can bring him in and we are ready to go on a run because of everything else we have around him.
Right.
Which is probably what, like that would be exciting. But I don't think Russell Wilson has it in him anymore to be the man.
Yeah, but that piece is there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the core, they're young, they're hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're talented. Talent is all get out.
You got to shore up that offensive line. That's the other weak point.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they released Mason Cole, so you need a center.
Yeah.
You've got to go get yourself a center at some point, be it draft or free agency. You know, you've got to secure that left tackle spot. You know, or right tackle. If you're going to move Broderick Jones over to the left tackle now, you've got to secure that spot.
Right.
Like the line does still need some work, but I mean, overall, like you're right. Like everything else is kind of in place.
It is.
Yeah.
And we get that guy on the other corner.
Yeah.
Man, you look the fuck out.
I agree.
That's going to increase our sacks.
Yeah. No, I 100%. I'm right there.
Increase our interceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you move Peterson, if they keep Peterson.
Yeah.
Especially if you move him to safety.
Yeah.
Because he's got hands. I think he can catch the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not a problem.
Yeah. No, I agree. I thought he played.
But I think that'll be a concern a little bit later because both are old. I mean, how old's Minka?
Minka's young.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was older.
No. When the Steelers traded for him, he was in his second year.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Like he was being misused in Miami. They were using him as like a nickel back.
Oh shit.
Like it was like the weirdest fucking thing. Like he was begging to be traded because he was just completely out of place in their defense.
Yeah.
And when the Steelers traded for him, and that's the reason they gave up a first round draft pick, because he was like in his second year and he was a first round draft pick the year before for Miami.
Right.
Which was, I think he was a top 10 pick.
Right.
So like that's why they had to give up a first round pick for him, which everyone was like, what are you doing? Well, now you know. And they moved him to safety in that system. He thrived.
Right.
Because that's his natural position.
He's good.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think he's still in his 20s.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I think he's like 28. All right. Anything to add to the proceedings there, sir?
No, I'm good, son.
All right. Remember, there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us.
Hey.
I can send us an email. The email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd. We're very, very easy to find. And lastly, as always, we want to thank you, dear listener, for taking the time to check us out each and every week. We can't thank you enough for your support. And so on that note, the sleeper has awakened.
Peace.